Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually afternoon, so that introduction doesn't work as well as it usually does, but I guess I've got some explaining to do. Yesterday, I did not record any videos because I had a cross-country meet and I wanted to focus on that. And obviously, on Wednesday, there was no NBA action to talk about due to the protests and the boycotts of the games. And I was really proud of the Bucks. They're my favorite team, and I'm proud that they stood up for what they believed in. And I think that that's an important trait to demonstrate to young kids, especially when you're a role model like that. So I stand with them in their decision. Um, and today I wasn't gonna make any videos again because there's no basketball action yesterday, but I decided I might as well do an off-season preview. And today we are talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are kind of in a interesting spot. They have the number one overall pick, which is always a good thing. They have two young stars to build around in Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. And this offseason could play a substantial part in what their future might look like. Their coach is Ryan Saunders. He's only had one season, so I'm sure they'll keep him around. And let's just get right into the draft. First pick. I think they'll either take Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, or trade it. Right now, it seems like Edwards is where a lot of people think the direction a lot of people think the Timberwolves are going to go in. So I think that that's mostly what I'll be talking about in this video. I'll talk about my opinion on that, of whether they should go Edwards or Ball in my mock draft video. I'm starting to get prepared for that. I feel like I've watched enough film on most of the players, and I'm going to start to kind of put together my thoughts and where I think everyone should be going in the draft. But sounds like most people think they'll go with Edwards, and I think that fit-wise that's probably the best, but I'm not sure that this team should pick fit-wise, and I think LaMelo probably... Well, I'll talk about it more in my mock draft video, as I said. Otherwise, they could trade this pick for... the two names that come to mind would be Bradley Beal or Devin Booker. But both of those franchises would seem hesitant to trade their stars, so not sure that that'll happen. With the 17th pick, I could see them going with Leandro Bolmaro as a draft and stash. Otherwise, Pokusevski could be in a similar vein as a draft and stash. He's supposed to have really high potential, and just depends on how they view him. Otherwise, I'd like to see them take Trey Jones. They took his brother a couple years ago, and he's got potential to be a really good backup point guard right off the rip, and someone that can play alongside D'Lo as a guy that doesn't have to have the ball in his hands and taking shots, and a good distributor. And then they also have the 33rd pick. Some guys I like in this area are Cassius Stanley, Zeke Naji, Daniel Oturu, Elijah Hughes, and Robert Woodard. So all of those could be options. Not real sure what they want to do at this point. They don't have too many super big positional needs outside of the power forward spot. But yeah, obviously you're not really looking for a franchise player with the 33rd pick. So they should just go with whoever they view as the best available at that spot. Kind of the same with 17. Alternatively, they could draft Pokusevski, considering that he's most likely going to be a power forward. So there's a bit of a positional fit there. However, I don't think that he'll be NBA ready. This draft is just kind of weak in power forward, so as a position they need, not great for them. In terms of other trades they could do, if they decide Malik Beasley is not right for them as a bench player, they could do a signing trade with him. I'm sure there'd be a lot of interest league-wide for like a team like Charlotte or someone like that who's rebuilding and could use a good young player, and that's what Malik Beasley is. He's a good scorer, decent defender, not outstanding, but not terrible either. And I'm sure lots of teams would love to have him, and there would definitely be interest if the Timberwolves are looking to do a signing trade with him. Otherwise, they could trade that number one overall pick, or maybe even the 17th pick. They could bundle that with the large James Johnson contract for a win now kind of player. Someone else who's getting paid in that similar kind of range. I think the $17 million annually that James Johnson's currently getting. And in terms of free agency, outgoing, they have Malik Beasley and Juan Hernan-Gomez are the two notable ones for them. So I think their first target should be deciding what to do with Beasley. Do they let him walk? Do they re-sign him and trade him? Or do they match whatever deal he gets and keep him on their team? If I'm them, I might be leaning towards a signing trade because in Denver he wasn't super happy with his role coming off the bench. So who knows if he would accept a role as a sixth man if they were to draft Anthony Edwards, which I'm assuming they will in this video. And otherwise they could maybe start Edwards at the 3. He's a strong guy. He's only 6'5", but I think that he's capable of guarding bigger wings. Is he ready to do that with his lack of defensive intensity? I'm leaning towards no. So I'm not sure that these two fit next to each other, which would mean Beasley would have to come off the bench. He could be a kind of primary playmaker off the bench for them, which could be a good role for him, but is he willing to accept it? I'm not sure. So that is where the potential for a signing trade would come in. Otherwise, they could just let him walk and have some cap space to make a signing. And if they were to do that, I would kind of like if they signed a power forward. One of the Denver duo of Jeremy Grant and Paul Millsap would stand out to me as good options for them there. Millsap really took a young Nuggets team and helped make them into a playoff contender. So I think he could probably do the same kind of thing for the Timberwolves, whereas Jeremy Grant is more of a player in their age range of their star young players, and he could step in as a immediate starter and contributor. He can shoot the ball well. Floor spacing is always a good thing to have in the NBA, and he's also a really good defender, which is certainly something the Timberwolves need considering their